Welcome again, ladies and gentlemen, to another training video. As you can see here, I'm actually in a regular gym, well, semi-gym. This is the actual Marriott Hotel over in Grand Rapids. So I decided to go ahead and knock out chest first at GrrCON, which is actually a hack convention, not a metal convention. But anyways, you can see here, I went this decent cable machine, did some incline and decline chest press on here, and shockingly, it's a good setup on this machine. Cables were actually heavy, so I was able to get a decent chest press in here before moving on to some dumbbell work. So on dumbbells, I went ahead and did some incline bench and then some incline flies. And then right afterwards, came back to the cable machine, did some fly work with the cables. Then finally, some suspension trainer, push-ups, and then finish off a little bit of tricep work for heading on to the con center. And actually met some cool people, got a lot of good stuff. But anyway, let me shut up as you guys watch the rest of this footage. Yeah, one thing you'll notice is as we're going to the convention center, we're walking over to the convention center, they actually had a nice art exhibit. So leaving the hotel to the actual con center, I pretty much just skywalk, and they had a lot of cool stuff to look at, art exhibit, and very scenic stuff that's there all year round. Very historical pieces of, historical buildings, as you can see through the footage. Some nice chandelier work here in a lot of these restaurants and so on, and some of these art museums. Yeah, good place to take a date, but yeah, I'm kind of worried about the pricing, so may not want to say that too loud, but anyway, let me shut up and kind of let you guys enjoy the artwork and some of the stuff that's in this area before continuing on. And also, once I actually got to GrrCON, there are a lot of cool stuff there. And one pleasant surprise is, when I got in there, it was nowhere near as bad as the Arnold. You can actually see the floor, you're not wall-to-wall people. The line to get in was super long like it is in the Arnold on a Saturday, but once you got in there, you actually had enough space to walk. Let me repeat, you actually had enough space to walk. I run into it, I think there were only 2 gyms in the area that weren't class owned, the one at my hotel and the JW Marriott gym, which is kind of similar to LA Fitness. The one I was in, only about 2 or 3 people in there at a time. The JW one, since you may have a bunch of influence there, it may have been like a pro gym. So I'm kind of tempted to go there next year, but part of me is like, maybe I need to talk to Chris Burrows, who's later on, we'll see later on in this video, another power lifter. Yeah, I'm gonna check with him first, because if he tells me the gym was crowded, I ain't going there. But if it was quiet and only like 2 or 3 people there too, I'm definitely going there, because I saw the equipment, and yes, I will pay extra money just to look some heavy stuff in a new gym. Well, anyway, let me shut up for real and get back to the footage. Yeah, so you guys saw that I finished off day 2 by checking out the Mech Assault. Sorry, I mean Biotech system they had set up right there in the middle of the convention center. They had this huge elaborate display, full size mech cockpits right there for you to sit in. So you go in there, they had 8 of them lined up. So I sat in there like the old school arcades and went ahead and went to work playing them. You see some footage right now on the screen, or you probably just saw some footage of me playing the game and some photos of the inside of the cabinet. As you can tell by the photos, it's based like the old school Sega arcade machines, like Outrun, Space Harrier. Space Harrier, very similar to Afterburner actually. If you notice the way the throttle on the joystick is handled, pretty much the same flavor with that. And of course, finish up the day for real, going to Panthers networking event at Maxie's. So they had a buffet dinner there, and of course you can see in the footage, nice little aquarium right there at that at that restaurant. So nice, chill place to go to. Hey, for us that night since we went to the con, it was dirt cheap. Actually, it was free with our tickets, but you go out overnight, you're gonna be paying some money down there in Grand Rapids. But anyway, after that, I went back to the hotel and chilled out for a minute. I know I was gonna get up early to hit the gym. As you guys see here, I had to train back, so I'm heading back in the gym, doing some bent over rolls with the KO machine, because you know they don't have any freestanding barbells. So I use that to go heavier for my bent rolls. Then I did some supported dumbbell rolls with the bench. Then from there I did some high rep, low weight lawnmower rolls, because unfortunately the weights are like Planet Fitness, they don't go that heavy. So since I got half the weight, I had to double my reps. So just did 3 sets of 20 on each arm before moving on to other movements. And yes, the gym did get a little bit crowded that day because that was the day 2 of the con. So everybody was right in front of the lat pull down machine. So what I had to do, I had to improvise, do my reps in, and take a photo of the machine so you guys know what it looks like. It's the same one you see if you go to Edge Fitness, same lat pull down machine. So I can't get actual footage of me actually using the machine, but every time I turn around during my set, someone was right there in front of the camera. So I kind of had to let that one go. But anyway, finished up back. Then I want to do some biceps. So you guys see I did curls, a few different variations of curls. And then finish up with some supersets of rear delt flies, the lateral raise for heading out to the con for day 2. And once again, let me be quiet and let's get back to the footage. All right, you guys see here, day 3. Well, day 3 was just me pretty much going to the gym and packing up my stuff to head home because GrrCON's only 2 days. I like to earn those 3 days, but day 2, we were there till 7 o'clock, and I was not trying to be driving 3 hours back home because I was not trying to fall asleep behind the wheel. Plus, we were there so late, I didn't have time to eat dinner. So I'm like, okay, it's about 8 o'clock by the time I sit down and get something to eat, and then try to drive for 3 hours. No, not trying to get the itis while driving. Bad combination. Well, anyway, as you can see here, shoulders and arm day. I pretty much grabbed the bench, did some seated dumbbell presses, and of course the dumbbell was just heavy enough for me to get decent presses in there, so I did some dumbbell presses. Then from there, for a little extra brought my suspension trainer, did some suspension trainer handstand push-ups. So I did about 5 sets of 5 with those. Then I did a static hold with a handstand. And yes, I know I'm old and snapped up. This is what I'm doing for handstands. Sorry, I was not gifted with the ultra gymnastic ability to do all this crazy stuff. So I'm like, you know what? I'm working the muscle and keep it moving while snapping my stuff up. And I said the squat, bench, and deadlift, gymnastics, no. And I may need extra testing. You ever see me do high rocks? Just saying. Well, anyway, all joking aside, I then did some other shoulder movements like some lateral raises with dumbbells. Then I went on to some K-works, some rear delt flies again. Trying to remember what I did. Yeah, rear delt flies. Then I also did some arm stuff. Just some curls, tricep push downs. And once I got done going back and forth with shoulders and arms, went back to the hotel, drove back home, and then of course, boom, had this nice spread of swag I got from the convention. Well, anyway, hope you guys like this video. Please rate, comment, subscribe. The next time, live your best lives, and peace. Definitely go to GrrCON. If you guys in that area, make sure GrrCON is definitely worth it. All right, for real this time. The next time, keep living strong, and peace out.